Mhm. It's like a Mr. Rogers, like, remember when Mr. Rogers would like put on his jacket and he was like, "It's a beautiful day in the name." It's like that into intro. Thank you guys for being here. We are going to talk about reclaiming yourself, how to get yourself back. Because here's the reality. I saw someone, the curse stone, he says the best method is to not lose yourself to start with. But it's true, but it doesn't work out that way. You ask anyone who's had a hard past with their parents, or they've been rejected or had a failed relationship, boom, done. You've lost yourself. So we're going to talk about how to reclaim yourself back. How do you get yourself back when love just hasn't been so fair to you, when you haven't had a good experience with it? Now, if you're new here, I'm so glad that you have come here. You've come to the best place to really help you get the love that belongs to you, because I believe that we are all deserving of love. But unfortunately, we get setbacks, we get roadblocks. And so here's a channel to help you overcome that. And if you're like, I'm with you and that's me, then you are going to get more support at my website, aricaangelo.com. I've got some powerful online courses that you can do in the privacy of your home to start reclaiming yourself, along with some coaching that will support you. And I've got a new coaching experience on my coaching page on my website that you can apply for now, that will be rolling out very soon. So, to start off from where I'm going, and I'm going to give you a story to kind of illustrate this, because I believe that the best way to learn is through stories. And so we're going to talk about like what happens. Why do we lose ourselves in the journey of love, trying to get love, trying to keep love? Why do we lose ourselves? Why do we have to reclaim ourselves in the process? So thank you guys for being here. I see that Matt's here, Juan's here, Jeffrey's here. Thank you guys for being here. So here is an interesting story that I started reading last night. How many of you are into biographies? I really, really dig biographies. Hey, Sean, how are you? Sean's one of my emotional warriors. Yes, he is indeed. How many of you are into biographies? Anyone here into biographies? So interestingly enough, I started reading the biography last night of Charles Dickens. Thank you, Sean. Hey, Penguin's here. Penguin, I haven't seen you in a while here. Wait, I think you were here last week. Were you here last week? So I started reading the documentary of Charles Dickens. Also, before I forget, I am so grateful for you guys and your continued support of watching my TV show, Love Without Borders, on Bravo TV. I'm the host of it, and I am so grateful for you guys watching that show. We've got episode 5 dropping this Wednesday, and it is about to get intense. It's starting to get intense. It's going to get more intense this week. So make sure that you guys are watching it. Thank you, Penguin. Hi, Michael. Namaste to you. So Charles Dickens, this guy wrote A Christmas Carol. Brilliant. I mean, we still get movie renditions of this beautiful, brilliant book. It's a story that continues to touch our heart, continues to pull things into perspective of like what Christmas is really about. But you guys, I tell you what, when you start reading a person's biography, what you imagine of a person and what you imagine their lives are actually like, the journey that they have been on to get them from where they were to now, is fascinating. And so when we talk about losing yourself, oftentimes, here's a reality check, is most of us lose ourselves before we even realize it. Like when we get taught by our parents about love and relationships, most of us, boom, done, bam, out. We're out the door right there, because that's our foundation of love, right? So I started reading his book, and this guy who's written beautiful, beautiful masterpieces that have just inspired us and continue to inspire us today. had a really difficult upbringing. And what I'm learning, not to give you all the answers, but what I'm learning is this guy had such a traumatic upbringing that at the end of his life, even though he had so much compassion and love for the poor, pay attention to this, he couldn't love his wife or his children. They said the conundrum, the stark reality of his life was this guy who had so much love for the rest of the world that he inspires us to continue to love one another. That this same guy, this is mind boggling, still had a hard time loving his wife, loving his children. And they said that he continued to live with this fear of what had happened in his past. And so when we fast forward today in our relationships, you would not believe how much you were operating from your past. You don't, if we pulled off your skin and got access into your heart, you would not realize how what you experienced as a child growing up with your parents, how that is dictating how you show up, what you expect in your love and relationships. Anytime I get started with a new client, my first question to them is, what did your parents teach you about love? What did they teach you about being in relationship? And for most of us, it's shit what we've been taught. And we wonder why relationships are so difficult. It's like, why wouldn't they be when your whole foundation has been tethered and trauma and disappointment and not knowing how to stand up for yourself, not valuing yourself, not teaching you that you're worthy? Of course. So some of the journey of reclamation, like I think what I see consistently is when most people, not all, but most people, when they come to me for help, they're typically in a situation now that is, they've gone through a breakup, they're about to go through a breakup, or they just consistently keep getting rejected. And so in that, they think, I've lost myself. I lost myself to this relationship. I've lost myself to trying to get the approval of other people. I've lost myself in the pursuit. But the reality is, wait, what do you mean? It says no sound? What do you mean no sound? The reality is that most of us have lost ourselves a long time ago. And so the journey of, what is the quote by Room? I'm going to just Google this real fast because it's the heartbeat of everything that I teach. Rumi says this. He says, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and fill and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it, which I believe we fill with love. Okay, you've got down. Okay, good. I'm going to read that quote again because it's so powerful. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you've built against it. So I found it fascinating that with Charles Dickens, that while this man had such a capacity for loving everyone else, he had a hard time loving his wife. He had a hard time loving his children. And so I would venture to say that there were lots of barriers going on there. So, in the journey of reclaiming ourselves, what do we mean by that? What does it mean to reclaim yourself? It's that right there of going in and seeking and finding, where are the barriers that I have in me? But oftentimes, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. Oftentimes, most of us are conditioned to believing that the problem is outside of ourselves and not inside. You know, since this television show, I've had so many women reach out to me, even men asking me to help match them, to do matchmaking, because right now where the TV show is, it's just showing me as this person who has found these matches for people. But if you've been following me for a while, you know that my work has a lot more of depth than that, which is helping people resolve in themselves to become the answer for themselves. But most of the time, we're so conditioned that we need something outside of ourselves in relationship. Like people who are coming looking for a matchmaker, like they haven't realized to make themselves vibrant and attractive enough. So they think that it's outside of themselves. But really, the answer is in all of us. And it's back to what Rumi said of your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And the reality is in reclaiming ourselves, it is going in and being responsible for the barriers that you carry. And not even just saying that it's your fault. Responsibility doesn't necessarily mean that it's your fault, but responsibility is saying, this is what has happened to me in my life up until this point. And so now I've got to get to work. I've got to roll up my sleeves and get to work so that this does not continue to perpetuate, so that I don't continue to live my life in a place of not belonging to myself, not believing in myself, not seeing myself as worthy and deserving of love. I just recently updated my website. If you go to my website, aricaangelo.com, Erica is with an A. I just changed the top to say that says helping you get the love that belongs to you. And I believe that all of us, that love does belong to us, that it is our birthright. And so when we lose ourselves, though, when we lose ourselves because of our past, when we lose ourselves because of a failed relationship, when we lose ourselves in the pursuit of love, oftentimes we are going to believe the subtle lie that love is not meant for us. That's the dark lie that comes in when you've had setback after setback and you feel like you're losing yourself. This is a very interesting time where a subtle dark lie will creep in and it'll say these words to you. Pay attention. It will say to you that you are not worthy of love. You are not deserving of love. Oh, no, 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 no. That's for everybody else. And God forbid you get on social media where everyone is photographing their best moments with their significant other. And so you get a snapshot of that fantastic moment that they have put a filter on and they've run through Lightroom to give all the color effects that it needs. And then you think it's not meant for me. And so, some of you who are living with that sense of hopelessness and that despondency, especially if you're single right now during the holidays, like reclaiming yourself is probably the last thing on your mind. Because this is a time that, while it should be the most hopeful time of the year, when you're single or when you're in a failed relationship, that this is probably one of the trickiest times of the year, because this is where you really start believing that everybody else has something that you do not. But I just want to remind you, I just want to invoke some hope into you to remind you that you are not powerless in this, that you don't need some just magic matchmaker. You don't need some magic person to show up on your front doorstep, but that you are empowered to not merely to merely seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built up against it. That may sound depressing, but for me, I always found that very fascinating. It was something that I inherently, intuitively knew. I knew when I was failing at relationships, when I was failing at pretty much every aspect of my life, it's how it felt at the time, was that I knew inherently that there were some barriers on the inside, and that if I could switch and pivot those barriers, then I could find my breakthrough. Then I could find my success. So here's the hope. The hope is in reclaiming yourself first. Understand that you are deserving of love, that the mere desire inside of you is your solution of, yes, this is meant for you. This is the goal for you. This is where you're going. When you have a desire, we're impacted, we're filled with desire because it's a longing that is needing and wanting and is meant to be met. We're supposed to be filled with that love and that desire that love that we desire. That's supposed to be granted to us. So here's the reality. If in reclaiming yourself, first, it's reclaiming your birthright that you are worthy and meant to be loved. I want you to say that. I am worthy. Say it with me. I am worthy and meant to be loved. Yes, you are. The reality of this, and this is where people get hopeless, is the reality is you're so convinced that in order to get there, that it's something outside of yourself. And I promise you, it's not something outside of yourself, it's something on the inside of yourself. It's the barriers inside that keep you from the love that you actually deserve. And the reality is this is a beautiful thing, is that there are solutions, there are answers. But the challenge is you will never find those answers. You'll never go on the journey of reclaiming yourself if you don't believe that you're capable of removing those barriers inside of you. You don't believe that it's actually something inside of you. You believe it's everyone else but you, meaning a matchmaker is going to help you, meaning that, oh, there's just like when I got started in giving advice to people about dating and relationships was back in 2008. And the one thing that I continued to hear from people was there's just nobody in my area. There's no one in my area. Then lo and behold, we have now dating apps and we have people at the tip of our fingers. And now what's the new answer? Nobody wants real love. Everyone's just playing games. That's such bullshit. The mere fact that you want love, you cannot be the only person in the world who wants love. That's asinine. There are other people that want it as well. So this is where you get in the driver's seat. The driver's seat is this: when you feel those feelings of despondency and hopelessness that say everyone's just out playing game, there's no one who's on the same page as me, is to start having a conversation back with yourself. And this is where you reclaim yourself. This is where you get your power, is by saying to those thoughts that come up that start telling you that it's hopeless, that start telling you that there's nobody else out there on the planet who wants love like you do. You start having a conversation with your thoughts, and I go, and you say, I know that's how you feel right now. But logically, the reality is if I desire it, there has to be someone on the other side who matches that frequency. So then I have to ask myself, what's stopping me and what's stopping that person who has that same frequency, that has that same desire as me? What is the barrier in between so that I can remove those, so that our frequencies are in alignment, so that we become like magnets and we are drawn towards one another? What do I do? And it's in what Rumi said so brilliantly. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And I promise you, if you are frustrated in your journey of love, I can assure you that there are barriers that you are carrying on the inside of you that have to get addressed. That's the reality of this. And I know that's hard to hear. Trust me, it was hard for me to hear when I was whining to a girlfriend in Los Angeles about being single. And I said, I just want to be in a relationship. And then she held a mirror to me and my actions in my life. And she said, look at all the people that you're dating. And she said, no, you don't want to be in a relationship. If you wanted to be in a relationship, you wouldn't be spending your time with these people. That's a reality. I had a barrier going on. I really didn't want a relationship. I wanted to be free and figure out who the hell I was, but I thought I wanted a relationship at the time. And so what I'm telling you is your journey is to find the barrier. This is why I provide all online courses, so that in the privacy of your home, you can get to work and go, okay, which one of these is my barriers? You know, one of the first programs I have, and what I did for you guys with my online courses, is I put them in order, because I feel like that there is a pathway to this. I've got a boundaries course, I got a vulnerability course. The first thing that I always encourage people, that I'm encouraging you to start with on my website, is to start with my 5 things that sabotage you from real connection. I think that that is like the foundation, because there are 5 mistakes that most people keep making when it comes to their connections. And they will go on date after date after date after date, and they'll go, why am I not finding the love that I want? And I promise you, if they will fix one of these 5 things, their connections will start flowing. And it's $94. So go to my website, go to online courses, and get started there. But the reality is, we're not as hopeless as we think. And that is one of the stark realities we need to feel and know when we feel like we've lost ourselves, when we want to go on that journey of reclaiming ourselves. One, go through the feelings, feel what you're feeling. You feel sorry for yourself, feel sorry for yourself. Like, we're not here to be robots and pretend like, we don't feel these things. Feel the feelings, but then go, okay, I felt what I needed to feel. Now it's time to get to work. Now I need to roll up my sleeves. What do I need to change in me? What are the barriers inside of me that are keeping me from my person? Because I promise you, your person is waiting for you. I'm going to say that again. Your person is waiting for you. And so each of you are doing all that you can do to remove the barriers so that you can find one another. I remember this woman I knew years ago. It's a really cool story. Years ago, she was really, 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 really wanting to find her partner. And she dated all sorts of guys. And the brilliance of what she did was, the people that were not right for her, she gave them hard no's. And like, that's something you would learn in my boundaries course. And so, because she was so committed to getting the love that belonged to her, she continued to say no, even though it was hard and difficult. And part of her just wanted to just settle and just say, fine, I'll just take any Joe Blow. I'm just tired of being lonely. No, she was focused, and she continued to remove the people that were not supposed to be in her life until she met her partner, whom she's still married to. I think they have 3 or 4 kids now. They've been married for a long time. Beautiful relationship. But this was a woman who was committed to herself, even when it was difficult. And so understanding that, like, we have to choose what's inside of us and not just saying yes to everything on the outside of us. That's a big way to lose yourself. Most of the time, people have lost themselves because you're saying yes to too many things and too many situations and too many people that are a hard no. Trust me, I've been going through this lesson for the past year of cleaning some people out. I'm like, wow, that person's there from like past social conditioning. They got to go. Sometimes it's learning to say no, that's also your journey and reclaiming yourself. Is this making sense to you guys? Like, this is getting to the heart of it. But here's the thing. To be able to reclaim yourself, to draw yourself back, it's understanding that there is something inside of you that you want to achieve, right? Which is being in a relationship. But we have to have some form of hope. Hope is the fuel to keep us going. So, what is it that you can be hopeful about you? Anytime I get an answer to a hard solution, a hard problem, when I get an answer, it makes me very excited. Like, so for me, knowing that, like, okay, if what's stopping me from getting love are the barriers inside of me, attack the barriers, go after the barriers. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, I have someone like Arica Angelo giving me advice on YouTube, who has courses, who has coaching. Okay, I'm not alone. And sometimes it's as simple as hearing that you're not alone, that you're going to get the support. But some people don't even realize that love belongs to them. I wholeheartedly believe that. I believe that if a person desires love, that they are meant to be in a loving relationship. And if they don't have that, it's because of the barriers that are inside of them that are keeping them from it. I wholeheartedly believe in this. And so if you can find hope in that the mere fact that I have a desire to be in a loving relationship, I carry that on the inside. It's that saying from the Bible, that deep that calls into deep, that desire that says, I want to be in a loving relationship. The mere fact that you have that desire is something to be excited about, because then it has to be met. That desire has to be met. And then when the hopelessness comes in because you keep having problem after problem, you can get excited about the fact that, okay, these problems that I'm having better boundaries with, that I'm saying no to, are me just removing the barriers, which means if I'm removing the barriers, then I'm cleaning my frequency, I'm cleaning my pipeline so that I can attract and be in the love relationship that I want to be in. Is this making sense for you guys? I hope that it's lighting a fuel and a fire in your butt. All right, who's in the chat? Thank you, Matt. Matt says, yay, I'm his TV hero. I will take it. I know people keep messaging me too about this show because they put it on YouTube and then they take it off, because I realize not everyone has Bravo, including myself living in the South of France. And a huge thank you, Robert. Robert says, Merry Christmas, everyone. Huge Merry Christmas to all of you guys. Can you believe it falls on a weekend? So wild. P. Anthony, thank you for being here. Penguin, I am worthy and meant to be loved. Should we use this as a meditation mantra? Hell yeah. Conversation to yourself creates positive statement, opens the lines of energy. It 100% does. Penguin says, reclaiming yourself, admit fault, feel it, and overcome. I like that. By feeling the pain, we can get answers. Thomas says he's getting rid of people. Sometimes you got to do it. I know it's harsh. Trust me. I think it's harsh, but Penguin says, removing the past, wipe out and replace. Matt says, this is fantastic advice. Lucas says, yes, it's good to have positive affirmations. That is for sure. Penguin says, an answer unlocks the guilt, replaces. Thank you, Thomas. He says, it reset my mind listening to Arica. I love hearing that. Zen says, you are so right. Love is our own, nobody else's. Ninja Wolf, we're so glad you're here. And Cayman says, I need to watch this video from the beginning. I was doing some yoga. You 100% should. Guys, I'm so glad to be here with you. I will definitely be seeing you guys next Monday. Be loved this Christmas. Know that in reclaiming yourself, that you are putting yourself that much closer to being in the loving relationship that you deserve, getting the love that belongs to you. So on this Christmas, when you feel lonely, when you feel discouraged, I want you to do a big thing for yourself. And this is something that, even though I'm in a relationship, I still do this for myself, is just putting that right hand under your left armpit. Something my somatic therapist taught me, taking your left hand and putting it over your right shoulder and just holding yourself like this and saying, you know what, on Christmas Day, when you feel lonely, when the emotions come up, I'm like, you know what, I have me. And I'm becoming more and more free by the day. The love that belongs to me, it's on its way to me. And I want you to say that to yourself over and over and over again. It's actually very soothing, very, very soothing. And that is your reality. That is the truth. So guys, have a wonderful Christmas. Know that you are deeply, deeply, deeply loved. I wish I could give each of you a hug this Christmas. Know that you're loved. Know that you matter. And I'm grateful to have your presence here on my YouTube channel. I'm grateful to have you on these lives. I'm grateful to have your energy on my channel. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. So you are loved. Have a wonderful Christmas, and I will see you guys next Monday. Take care. Don't forget to go to my website, aricaangelo.com. I've got online courses to support you in removing those barriers along with my coaching. You guys take care. Be loved. Bye.